Part two, my phone just decided to close down. It does that sometimes. But yeah, you even though society will try to tell you otherwise, even though parents will try to tell you otherwise, you know, there's a lot of cruelty going around towards childless people because it's just so misunderstood. Last Christmas Day, talking on the phone to my mother, and normally I grin and bear it, and we often are at snappy snaps, but normally when she's waxing lyrical about something, not with no thought for how harmful she's being, I just grit my teeth, and I really lost it because what was she doing? Well, just without any consideration for how much I might want certain things in my life and didn't have them, and how hard it is, especially at times when you can imagine having a day with your own family. I'll never see my child open Christmas presents or sit down with my own children for a Christmas meal, or play with them in the summer holidays away at camp, and be able to do sort of anything at all with my own children because I don't have them. And my own mother is, she spent 20 minutes, she doesn't draw a breath, 20 minutes just about how lucky my younger brother is now with his beautiful partner and the children and just their life, and just how that is so amazing for him, and he's got such a wonderful family. And look, I know this anyway, right? I know how lovely his partner is and how beautiful and spoiled his children are, and it's so thoughtless, and on Christmas Day too. And yeah, anyway, so I just wanted to point this out because, quite often we are just, the pain is there all the time, and we're being, and we see parents with children all the time, right? And it's not a simple thing because yeah, there's just a lot of thoughtlessness and cruelty from society, from in film. I mean, Hand That Rocks the Cradle, all of this sort of thing. In some countries where because we don't live in tribes now, but the tribe together is strength, right? And cooperation is strength. And well, what if you can't be part of that tribe by having a children when you're a woman? Well, if you're infertile, or if maybe your child dies and you're childless, you become ostracized, you're feared, you might be cast out. So this is where these women might learn to study a lot of things and become the witches, become the shamans, but they could be, beyond being shunned, they are often abused, they could be enslaved. This is because they haven't fulfilled what's natural, what's right for any live being. It's not everybody. There's plenty of women that are making a conscious choice, but don't assume that everybody that is without a child, man or a woman, that it's a conscious choice. They might have made the choice because at a time when they could have become pregnant, perhaps they didn't want to bring a child into a certain household, or because they worry about their mental health, and they worried about how well they could parent a child, and it's a type of love. It's deep love. Grief is love, okay? It's not coldness. We're not cold. We're suffering. And sometimes it's a choice, and I think maybe there are more and more young women, the millennials even, decide, making conscious choices, and of course they're going to be assessing and reassessing this all the time. I mean, I urge them, freeze some eggs before you're 30. Everything is downhill before them. Then after 36 they won't do it. I know many women who have suffered greatly trying to go through IVF or trying to go through adoption processes or just trying to get pregnant with partners, people who have miscarriage after miscarriage. I've had a miscarriage. And there's many reasons it doesn't happen. It's not always choice. Maybe it's just not the right timing. Maybe that choice was taken away. Maybe people have physical issues that create it, that create the difficulty. There's so many reasons. And, maybe they are with a partner that after years has controlled that woman's fertility, refused to have children, or maybe the partner has children already and doesn't want to have more. What happens when that relationship goes? Well, you no longer have these step children, maybe that chance for step grandchildren, that goes. It's loss after loss after loss, because you can't deny that this is life is about giving life. And we talk so much on this channel about death, don't we? But I just thought, look, I am going to talk about this after talking to my friend last night, and we realized we both have that same grief. I'd urged her when she was going to America, please don't go through what I went through. Get pregnant with your husband and make it happen. And it just couldn't happen. It didn't happen. And then she didn't want it to happen. And now she's home in Australia and dealing with grief. And personally for me, because I started going through menopause very early, probably after I had a miscarriage at 32. And things start changing bit by bit. And then at 40, when I was in a new relationship and couldn't get pregnant, but I kept thinking I had an anti-Müllerian hormone test, and it was 0.1%. This is the new test that they'll do to check for fertility. Women out there, if you're worried, go and have an anti-Müllerian hormone check. It's a good indicator of your fertility status. Well, I was devastated because I felt young physically and everything, but I hadn't realized I'd been going through many perimenopause, and then I had to go through horrendous menopause, horrendous, absolute insanity and suffering, and from the physical to the mental and emotional. Some women sail through, some women suffer greatly. It's about 5% at one end, 5% at another, and any sort of combination in between. So every time, I wouldn't get a period for, I think, okay, I am pregnant, against all odds. But, and I'd pee on several sticks and then just have to deal with the fact that I wasn't pregnant, and then, and then that I was menopausal, and then that I was never, ever, ever going to get pregnant and have my own child. And so on top of dealing with nightmares, mood swings, all the hot flashes, so many other things there's a lot that can come with menopause. And besides dealing with that, I was grieving so greatly. I knew I was grieving, but my partner didn't understand it or know. Anyway, and nor did therapists understand what the real deal was. It's just not something widely known, and if you're afraid to talk about it, no one's going to learn. And so, that relationship's gone, and then there's always new feelings to have to deal with, because then what happens for a woman, thinking about wanting to have another relationship? There's fear around that, and doubt, and lots of things you try and consider. So perhaps you just don't. So I just didn't. Anyway, this is very rambly, but I wanted you to become aware of the bottomless, dark pit of grief, never-ending grief. Doesn't mean that you're thinking about it, but it can come at any time, right? With any situation out in life, anything that someone says, particular days of the year, whatever it is, okay? It's trigger intense, and we have to hide it. We have to it's something that just has to remain within, and it's a physical pain. It's a physical pressure, okay? It's that intense, and a lot of people are suffering like this, okay? So I just wanted to bring this up, unveil it, if you will, to see maybe it helps someone, or helps someone understand people in their life, whether it's close people, whether it's themselves, whether it's just people they come across in the world, I don't know, whatever. The lost tribe of childless people. Let's not say women, although I don't know if it's more deeply profound in women, but I know that it makes men feel like failures or other as well, and it shouldn't. It's not our faults. Sometimes the decision's been made for all the right reasons. Sometimes choice is taken away. You don't know unless you really know and have had this deep, honest conversation with someone that you know well. You have no idea why they're childless. So things that you can say thoughtlessly can hurt, let alone all the things that are just regular life that can, cause a response. So there you have it. What do you think? Maybe I'll turn the comments off for this one. But, are you someone that thinks of, that disrespects another woman just because they're childless and they shouldn't have a say about anything to do with motherhood or parenthood, as if we don't have emotion, understanding, these feelings, as if we don't have some sort of similar experience ourselves, trying to see it out through a pet? Maybe people have had children taken away from them, by a partner. Maybe their children have died. There's all types of childlessness. My experience is that I haven't given birth. This is a loss in itself, to not experience pregnancy to that, to full term and to give birth. I didn't want to do this, but I never wanted to, I won't be holding that baby in my that have that moment, right? It is something that people suffer through. But this person that you're grieving, they're not there. So it's very, yeah, you're nearly not allowed to feel like this, and you just have to take it. Yeah. So we might express it through pets, and it might mean that we can never abandon our pet as we would never abandon a child. I would never abandon my dog, but my dog makes it difficult for me to get home to New Zealand, I guess, because I guess it just has to be longer term than I would like, because I need to be able to live with him somewhere there, which I can't. And so instead of just putting some, my exorbitant wardrobe, instead of having my wardrobe, shipping that over with a few special things that I couldn't leave behind. I mean, everything about my life is, nothing is special here. My family are what matters, and they're in New Zealand. And it's like you're making some sort of sick choice, but I take the responsibility seriously. I chose, I've brought my dog into my life, and now I need to be able to take him with me. He needs to be with me. He's kind of special needs. And so I have the responsibility of getting him back. And I need to find my way through this latest round of struggle so that I can get there. It's kind of like having to choose. I don't know, if he was a human child, perhaps my family would feel differently and we would work together a little bit more. But it's my choices, I guess, that have meant that I'm here and they're there and we're apart. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, this is rambly. I'll speak to you later.